What a week, man. What a week. What a day yesterday. We're going to get into that, don't you worry. But what a week it's been. How are we all? It's cold out here, so that's why the hood is on. It's absolutely freezing. But my heart is warm. My heart is warm, and I'll tell you why. Because we'll get straight into it. Vitality Stadium last week. Liverpool got packed in again. Oh, what a season. What a season this is. Bournemouth, bottom of the table, Bournemouth 1, Liverpool 0. Where does one even start? Philip Billing on the score sheet again. Good player, man. Philip Billing, I wouldn't mind him. I'll take him at Spurs, actually. Philip Billing is a very, very, very good player. It's just, he's in a terrible team. I say that, Liverpool got beat by Bournemouth. Salah missed his first penalty, I think, in Liverpool colours. Not even on target. I think that ball is still spinning in orbit right now. Yeah, really good game. Bournemouth were really, really good. Liverpool not so much. Bournemouth definitely. It's a tough one to gauge for me because Liverpool are one of those teams, I said before, they need to have not a reshape, but they need about 3 windows because they need literally to rejig that whole squad. Like, that squad at the moment is not doing what Klopp needs them to do. Obviously compounded by the Champions League exit on Wednesday against Real Madrid. Yeah, they're just not good. The next 3 games are peak as well. Manchester City, I think, are in there. They got Chelsea in there, I'm pretty certain. Arsenal are in there as well. They've still got us to come to Anfield. Yeah, Liverpool aren't making the top 4 for me. For these reasons, they no consistency. They've been that way all season. They had a little bit of a flurry for about 3 games or so, but overall, not doing the business that they're supposed to be doing, and I think that's going to cost them this season. And then obviously they'll have the summer to try and fix it. Whether Klopp stays for that, I don't know. But as it stands at the minute, Bournemouth are Bournemouth are out here being giant killers. But it's not the first time Bournemouth have done this to Liverpool. I remember when Eddie Howe was there and they came back from, what was it, 3-0 down? Ended up winning the game 4-3. Nathan Ake in the last minute. So, yeah, they got previous. So I'm not overly surprised by it, even though I did think Liverpool would win the game. Bournemouth went out, did the thing. Liverpool lose again. Happy days. Leeds United versus Brighton from Ellen Road. Little bit of a shocker, this one, actually. Knowing that Brighton obviously play very good football. Leeds have a tendency to do it, but just don't do it week in, week out. Obviously, this is one of those weeks they decided to obviously pick up and play ball. And they matched Brighton throughout the entire game. Went in front twice. Brighton had to come back. Brighton went in front twice. And Leeds had to come back into it. No, really, really entertaining game for what I saw. De Zerbi's doing a really, really good job at Brighton at the moment. So that's a really good point. At a Leeds team that are very unpredictable. I think Leeds now are currently in the bottom 3. I think they're currently in the bottom 3. So they'll do well to get out of it. And I did say last week that I think Leeds United are going to be the team for me now that's going to go down and get relegated. Brighton, I don't think are going to be getting European place. I think that may go to Brentford. Yeah, I think it'll go to Brentford. Brighton will be there or thereabouts, as will Fulham, but I think Brentford will get it. More because Brentford have a goal scorer in Ivan Toney, and that's where we'll go next. Goodison Park, Everton 1, Brentford 0. Everton can do that to you at home, especially a Sean Dyche Everton team at home. Everton don't give much away there. I know obviously they lost to Aston Villa the week before, but they have beaten Arsenal there since Dyche took over. And Brentford, who are another very, very decent side, couldn't break Everton down. But Everton can do that to you. So it's not surprising. One of those boring games, not really much happened. But Everton got the job done when they needed to. And I think they'll stay up now. I don't think they're going down. I think they're currently 15th in the league at the moment. So they're looking upwards at the moment. Brentford, like I said before, I think they're going to nick the last European spot. Because they do know how to play. Brentford know how to ball. At home, very, very good side to watch. Away from home, they're starting to get a few sort of draws together, not necessarily winning them, but they're getting a few draws together. When I say that, they actually beat Southampton midweek, didn't they? So yeah, they know how to pick up points is basically what I'm saying, and Thomas Frank is doing a wicked job there. On to the King Power. Leicester City 1, Chelsea 3. Chelsea starting to gain a little momentum at the moment. So what's that now? 3 on a spin. Again, one of those games, very, very decent to watch. Not because of Leicester, because Leicester are just truly atrocious. So they can come at me and slap my club about 4-1 at home, but they can't do it to anybody else. All right, say less, innit? But no, Chelsea played well. They played very, very well. There should have been a red card in that game also for a challenge on João Felix, which obviously wasn't looked at, but didn't seem to face Chelsea. Chelsea kind of just went about their business and did what they needed to do. Talents, in abundance, so it's not difficult to see why Chelsea would win games. It's just about finding the right formula, and it would seem at the moment now that Graham Potter has found a formula for Chelsea to be winning games. I think it's a little bit too late. I don't think Liverpool, Chelsea are going to make a charge up the table to get a Champions League place either. I still think Brentford are going to finish above them. I just don't think Chelsea are at that point yet where they can consistently go on like a 10-game run from now to the end of the season. I do think the Wolves are going to fall off again, and then there'll be another rebuild in the summer. They still haven't got a striker as well. Kai Havertz is not a striker. So maybe they will address that. Heard that Lukaku is coming back as well. Inter Milan don't want to keep him or can't afford to keep him. So there's something there for Chelsea if they wanted to have a striker that could put the ball in the back of the net. Onto my beloved Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Tottenham 3, Nottingham Forest 1. This kind of went the way I expected it to go. I said it last week, Nottingham Forest will probably end up turning us over, but obviously anything that I do say is going to be reversed. So not overly surprised by it. Richarlison had a goal chalked off in the first 5 minutes, which shouldn't have been. So it should have been 4-1. But, Harry Kane doing what Harry Kane does. 2 goals. Son Heung-min on the score sheet again, which is obviously great for us. No Champions League for us, obviously. No FA Cup, no Carabao Cup. So literally another trophy this season for us. So we're just going to focus on the league and go all out to finish in the top 4, which I think we will do. Next couple of games are in our favour, so to speak, and I do think we will come out of both of those games unscathed. I think the next one we've got is Southampton this weekend, which obviously I'll go into away from home, and I think the game after that is Everton or something like that. But again, during these next few weeks, I'll obviously keep you all updated on what's going on in that. But yeah, good game for us. Not much went against us in the game. We played quite decently against a very terrible Nottingham Forest side anyway. So I'm not going to sit here and sort of gloat or brag about it, but a much needed win. Without even realising it, that was our 5th win in our last 7 in the Premier League. So slowly but surely getting a bit of form back there. So it's not the worst thing in the world. But onwards and upwards, I say. I think we'll get top 4. So happy with that. Crystal Palace versus Manchester City was the Saturday night football game. Terrible game. Really bad game. Manchester City were not good. Both teams stank. Crystal Palace are on this run now where they haven't had a shot on target in the past 3-4 games, I think it is now. I do think that changes on Sunday, and I'll tell you why. But yeah, Manchester City with a penalty from Haaland. A little bit harsh on Elise, but it is a penalty. It is what it is. He got a little bit of a nick of the ball. A little bit, but I think he went through the man first. Is a penalty. Haaland obviously goes on, continues scoring. Haaland scored a mad 5 goals in midweek as well, and I do think Haaland's on the score sheet again next weekend. Not much really more to say. Manchester City just getting the work done, doing what they have to do, not playing amazing football, but grinding out results. Speaking of grinding out results, Southampton went to Old Trafford last week and drew 0-0. Man United obviously with 10 men after 35 minutes. Casemiro sent off again. Didn't actually see the game. But for what I understand of it, it was very even with the 10 men. But Southampton didn't look unscathed. Didn't look scathed. Defensively, they looked pretty decent. Man United, obviously, with 10 men, couldn't break them down. So a draw. So a loss and a draw in the last 2 for Man United. Obviously going well in Europe. into the quarter-finals, last 8, I think it is now. Yep. Obviously, after winning last night against Betis 1-0, Rashford with another amazing goal, a landmark goal for him as well. I believe that's number 26 for him for the season or something like that. So doing really, really good there. Man United, I probably have his favourites to win the Europa League with Roma, I think. Got a bit of a cold as well, so it's kind of why I'm sniffling at the moment. But yeah, 0-0, Man United, Southampton, Casemiro, red card. Literally, that's all there's to say about that. Nothing more, because nothing else happened. On the Sunday, West Ham versus West Ham at London Road was a 1-1 game. Ollie Watkins on the score sheet again for Aston Villa. In a rich vein of form at the moment now, Watkins at the moment. Really, really decent form. West Ham obviously equalised and it ended 1-1. One of those games where it's like it's typical Sunday. There was not going to be many goals in it, and each team was going to cancel each other out. It's just one of those fixtures you look at and think, there's going to be no winners here. And so it proved. Again, not one of those games you want to write home about, but again, a decent point for both clubs, obviously wanting to maintain their status in the Premier League. Disappointing one, this one. Craven Cottage, Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. Fulham got absolutely battered first half. All 3 goals were in the first half and the game was over within 45, 47 minutes. Fulham did not want to play at all in that first half. Arsenal absolutely played them like a fiddle. And Fulham are one of the informed teams in the league at home as well, and I was expecting big things from Fulham, but Fulham let me down, man. Like, big time let me down. I literally let that club walk all over you. They need to be stopped. They need to be stopped. And you're not manning it, you're not soldiering it. I know my club didn't soldier it neither, to be fair, but my club is shit. So, I know where we stand in a minute. But Fulham, I expected more from you, man. Especially after the results you have had at home this season. I expected you put up much more of a fight. They had nothing. Second half even, Arsenal took their foot off the gas. Fulham came with a couple chances, but nothing clear cut. And just offered nothing throughout the game. They were just boring. Boring to watch, Fulham, man. And that's not something I could say about them this season. Fulham result that this weekend just gone is befitting of what I thought Fulham would be start of the season. Just terrible. When they decided to not show up against that Arsenal team. So that's what happens. Less said about that, the better. Arsenal win again, another 3 points. 5 points clear the top of the league. Final game of that weekend, Newcastle 2, Wolverhampton 1. Really interesting game. Really interesting game. And I thought Wolves deserved a point out of it. I thought they deserved a penalty in the first half because of Nick Pope's trip. And I thought Wolves had enough chances to obviously do Newcastle a bit more damage. But as it goes, if you miss your chances, you're not going to win games. And that's what happened. You get punished. And Newcastle duly did that. Almiron coming on, getting a winner. I think that's his 12th goal of the season. So it's really, really good going from him. Really, really strong season from Almiron. Newcastle, I don't think finishing in the top 4. I think we're going to get that. I just don't think Newcastle are consistent enough. And we're going to see why tonight, because I know Newcastle are away at Nottingham Forest. And I do think Nottingham Forest are going to turn them over. Forest obviously being really good at home under the lights. That's a Nottingham Forest Nottingham Forest win for me all day long. But I do think both teams will score this evening. There were 2 games in midweek, both of them on the Wednesday. St Mary's will start at Southampton 0, Brentford 2. Ivan Toney on the score sheet again, and he's been rewarded with an England call-up also. Southampton are just dry. They're just dry. And I know I might be cursing it because I know we're going there this weekend, and I know Southampton are probably going to show up and beat us 1-0 with a James Ward-Prowse screamer free kick, yeah? But Southampton are dead. They're so poor. There's not much you can say about Southampton without sort of looking at the table and thinking to yourself, how have you won 4 games this season? How does that make sense? Like, who did you beat? They are atrocious. And the sooner James Ward-Prowse gets out of there, the better. Southampton's sacking of Ralph Hasenhüttl has not gone down well. He probably would have saved them, to be quite honest with you. But Southampton chose to obviously blow their load a little bit quicker than anticipated. And now, look, they're probably going to get relegated for it. Second game of that night was Brighton versus Crystal Palace. Again, another game that went the way I thought it would go. Crystal Palace don't really go anywhere and do much. Another game where they didn't score a goal, or I'm not even sure if they had a shot on target or anything of that nature. I'm not even sure if that was the case. I'm guessing not. But again, I do think that will change this weekend. Brighton obviously running out 1-0 winners at the Amex, and obviously their good form continues. On to this weekend's game. I say this weekend, it's literally starting tonight, as I stated before. Nottingham Forest versus Newcastle from the City Ground, and I've got a Nottingham Forest win here. I'm going to go 2-1 to Forest, just based on the fact that Forest are very good at home and Newcastle have not been in the best of form recently. And I do think that's going to continue. So I think Nottingham Forest are going to win that game 2-1 tonight. Liverpool-Fulham is obviously postponed. I think Fulham are in the FA Cup versus Manchester City, if I'm not mistaken. And that's happening on a Saturday. So Man City West Ham is obviously postponed this weekend as well, as is Brighton versus Manchester United, obviously because Manchester United's run in the FA Cup at the moment. Brentford versus Leicester City, that is from the G-Tech Stadium. Brentford to win that game for me is pretty straightforward. I think that's going to be a 2-0 win there with Ivan Toney on the score sheet again for me. Southampton versus Tottenham from the St Mary Stadium. I said Southampton will probably nick it 1-0 because of the James Ward-Prowse free kick. Tottenham, we can't be as bad as we were last time out against Wolverhampton away from home. I do think we're going to win the game. I do think it's going to be a 2-1 win to us, but I do think we'll also make it hard for ourselves. But I also think Harry Kane's going to be on the score sheet again. I don't think Southampton have enough to do anything to us, but of course, this is us, so we always make sure that we make it difficult for ourselves. So we shall see. But I'm going to go 2-1 win for us against Southampton. Aston Villa versus Bournemouth from Villa Park. Bournemouth are in decent form. I say decent form. They should have beaten Arsenal and obviously beaten Liverpool last week. I think Aston Villa will probably nick this one 2-1 again. But I wouldn't be surprised if Bournemouth took something from this game, to be quite honest with you. They look a bit more resolute and a bit more street smart, which is obviously what you need when you're down there. But I do think Aston Villa will take this one 2-1 just. So 2-1 win there. Wolverhampton versus Leeds United from Molineux. I'm going to go with a Wolverhampton 1-0 win based on the fact that Leeds is just terrible at home. Terrible away even. Wolverhampton at home have had better results and obviously have beaten Liverpool there recently and obviously beaten us there last week. And I think that trend continues. Wolverhampton to beat Leeds United 1-0 from Molineux. Chelsea versus Everton is the evening kickoff. Chelsea are going to win this game for me 2-0 because they're in form. They've played themselves back into form, and Everton away from home are just not very good. Last time Everton were away from home, they got beat 4-0 by Arsenal. I don't see that type of result happening, but I do see Chelsea bullying Everton the entire game, and I'm going for a 2-0 win there. And then the final game of the weekend. It's from the Emirates. A tired Arsenal, a dejected Arsenal, a knocked out Arsenal of European competition again, play Crystal Palace, who can't seem to hit a barn door at the moment. And this is why I think Crystal Palace are going to go and have a couple of shots on target here, because I think William Saliba is out. And I think Tomiyasu is out as well. And if that's the case, then you're drawing for Rob Holding on the right-hand side of the defence, where Wilfried Zaha is going to be playing, and it's going to be peak. I think that'll be a draw. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw, and I think Crystal Palace are going to make it very, very difficult for Arsenal, as they should. There's going to be a lot of tired legs out there, obviously taken to extra time by Sporting last night and then losing on a penalty. So there's going to be a lot of dejection, a lot of tiredness, and I think Crystal Palace will benefit because they have just sacked Patrick Vieira today. This happened about an hour ago, in case you guys didn't know. So he's now out of the job. So obviously a new coach will obviously come in. Obviously not tomorrow. That'll probably be down to an under-21s manager or the assistant manager if he's still there, obviously. But I do think there'll be a new bounce there. Elise, Eze, Zaha, Edouard all have to play in the same 11 for me. Mateta is not that guy. And Ayew does not need to be in the first 11 of any Premier League team. Just don't understand the hype around that guy. I don't know how he's getting minutes. Like, get out. So absolutely, Eze, Elise and Zaha have to play with Edouard in that Crystal Palace starting 11 if Crystal Palace have any chance of getting anything from that game on Sunday. That's my time, man. Yeah, I'm ill. I'm gonna go and sort myself out. But that's the roundup I've got for you this week. Obviously, we'll be having a roundup in the next week as well. Featured game there is Manchester City versus Liverpool, and that is in a morning kickoff next weekend. But until then, try to enjoy the rest of your week. Try to enjoy tonight. Try to enjoy your weekend, and I'll speak to you then.